In this session, I will cover Chapter 1, Concepts in Security Risk Management from the Protection of Assets POA book. This is your main resource if you are preparing for the Physical Security Professional PSP certification from ASIS International. The first chapter talks about Enterprise Security Risk Management, ESRM, as an approach to the process of managing security. ESRM ties the organizational security practice to its overall strategy. When we talk about ESRM, we're not talking about a program. It's not a program. It's more of a management process or system to manage the security of an organization. And the objective is to have effective mitigation of risks. Now, there's many benefits for having an ESRM approach, and begins with bringing more resources and perspective to the risk management process. The security professional is seen as a strategic partner and a trusted advisor, so it brings more value to the professional security role in an organization. It, uh, it, it it brings more effective communication with asset owners. A security professional develop stronger and complete understanding of the organization's strategy and goals because they need to do this to align their approach with those goals. It improves communication with internal and external stakeholders. It provides a holistic approach that leads to a broader depth of value. It reduces security and security-related risks, moves security from a reactive to a proactive approach, and then security professionals can be seen as business partners and can be asked to participate into other strategic areas of the business. Now, if we want to go and adopt an ESRM approach, there's three primary components, and those are the context of ESRM, the foundation of ESRM, and the ESRM cycle that helps us always stay up to date and renewing the ESRM. Now, before I go into these three components, I want to talk about other considerations when going into an ESRM approach. And first one is the core values. So it's very important for an ESRM approach and for physical security professionals to link the ESRM to the core values of the company and align their approach with the core values of the organization. This will help for a smoother implementation and with better buy-in from the top management and all the stakeholders involved. And then they should consider the operating environment. And when we talk about operating environment, we consider three environments. First, the physical environment, and this includes the location of the building itself, the surrounding. So this is more about the physical location of the asset or the organization or the office or whatever we're trying to protect. And then there's the non-physical environment. And this is more of a non-physical. Of course, it's more of a geopolitical environment, the external pressure, the neighborhood where your asset is available. It's non-physical things that could affect your operation. And there is the logical environment, and this includes your digital assets mainly and your network infrastructure. And third consideration is stakeholders. And when we talk about stakeholders, this includes everyone who directly interfaces with the organization. And this includes the leadership team, asset owners, individuals who work for the organization or who support the organization from outside, like contractors or the clients and customers who work with the organization, and the community surrounding it. So if you're in a neighborhood, people living in that neighborhood are part of your stakeholders. They need to be considered when doing an ESRM approach. Now we go back to the three primary components, and let's start looking at each one by its own. For the context of ESRM, it's important to start by understanding the organization, as we said earlier, and having an alignment with the overall strategy, because this will help the ESRM approach or program to be to have a better buy-in and be more successful. Identify risks that undermine its strategy, and those would have a higher priority when we do our approach. Understanding the products and the services that the organization provide, knowing the key staff and leadership team, and learning their legal requirements. So you make sure we're in line with legal requirements. Second is the foundation of ESRM. And this starts with a holistic risk management, a holistic approach. And that means that all stakeholders participate in the risk management process and asset owners. It's not only the security professionals, it's everybody involved about the asset. So mainly top management and asset owners and other stakeholders who are related. Partnership with stakeholders, so security professionals should socialize their role to top management and asset owners, and this will help them get a buy-in for their approach. Transparency, and here we don't want to exaggerate or minimize risk. We want to give a picture as it is, and when presenting an ESRM approach or program or a proposal, our tone should match the reality of what we're presenting. So if there is high risk, we should reflect that in our presentation and the way we approach that, and vice versa. And the governance. So there's organizational governance that we need to understand. There's ESRM government. Organizational government is how the organization is directed and how decisions are taken. And in the ESRM governance is how the program is being run and how it's managed. It's important to understand those before we go into developing an ESRM program. Now, out of the governments, you will get policies, standards, guidelines, and procedures. These are things that will help us implement an ESRM. Uh, the last one is the ESRM cycle. And here we start by identifying and prioritizing assets. And this is something that is done with the asset owner, with the top management, and the security professionals. It's not only the security professional who does that, because those stakeholders know more what is important for the organization, so they need to be part of it. And then once we identify the assets, we need to identify and prioritize risks. And risks are based, and this prioritization is based on the risk's potential to undermine the organization ability to execute its mission, um, or it's prioritized based on an event or something that could threaten name of the company or the brand that we are trying to protect. So all these are taking into consideration when looking at prioritizing risk. Mitigate, prioritize risk, and here asset owners take the decision with guidance from security professionals. So it's asset owners who say the final word and how we are mitigating the prioritized risks and how to approach. And here, many things are involved, like budget, other considerations like resources availability. So, asset owners, top management, and security professionals should be involved in this process. And of course, continuous improvement. So, once we have done this, it's always a continuous improvement. Security professionals will keep to collect lessons learned and provide feedback to the stakeholders so the ESRM program can continue to improve. This was my session for today. Please, if you're planning to take the PSP certification exam, this is just an introduction. Please go ahead and read the chapter multiple times. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I will be more than happy to answer as much as I can. Please subscribe to the channel and stay tuned in. I will try to put more chapters from the POA book for your references.